Hello, this is Peter coming to you from Sao Paulo, Brazil, here to give you some tips on the English language. Today we're going to be looking at word order in questions, particularly focusing on auxiliary verbs and the verb to be. So, let's start with a little formula that I teach all my students, and that is quasi. If you can remember this formula, you will never have trouble remembering the correct word order in questions. This stands for question word, auxiliary verb, subject, and infinitive. When do you need to use an auxiliary verb in a question? Pretty much any time that the subject is in the question. If the subject of the question is the answer, for example, who wrote War and Peace? The answer to that question is the subject, so there is no auxiliary verb. But if the subject is in the question, you do. And oftentimes, we do not need a question word. If it is a simple yes or no question, then we can just use auxiliary verb, subject, and infinitive. What are your question words? We have the 5 W's and the H. We have who for people, where for places, when for time, why for asking for a reason or an explanation, what for asking for a specific thing or object, and how for asking for a way, manner, or form. Now, keep in mind what and how can be combined with other words to make question phrases. For example, what time, what kind, how many, how often. And there is actually another W, which is which is usually about choosing between one of two things. For example, which is better exercise, swimming or tennis? We can also make yes or no questions using the verb to be, and the easiest way to make questions with the verb to be is simply to reverse the reverse the subject and the verb. So, for example, it is hot today is a statement. Is it hot today is a question. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Carol is a good girl is a statement. Is Carol a good girl is a question. Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Keep in mind, we can also use the verb to be with question words. The question word goes first, and then the verb to be. For example, what are you doing? So let's get some practice here. Take a look at these questions that have a word removed from them and see if you can guess where the word goes. The first missing word is live. The question is, where do your friends? You know, the question word is where. The auxiliary verb is do. The subject is your friends. So what's missing here is the infinitive verb live, which would go after the subject. So the question is, where do your friends live? In the second question, what is missing is the auxiliary verb does. What this word mean? We know the auxiliary verb goes after the question word and before the subject. So the question is, what does this word mean? And in our third question, what is missing is the subject, you. Where were last night? This is a question with the verb to be, so we know in a question the subject comes after the verb to be, so that is, where were you last night? All right, let's try and rearrange these sentences into proper questions. The first one is Brazil from girlfriend is your. This is a question with the verb to be, so that would come first, as there is no question word. And then the subject. The subject would be your girlfriend. So is your girlfriend, and all we have left here is a preposition and a noun, Brazil. And we know that prepositions are used to link two words together. So that would come next. Is your girlfriend from Brazil? Next, languages. How, you, many can speak. All right, so we see a question word here in how, but we know how can be combined with other words to make question phrases. And we see the word many here, so that's your question phrase. How many? All right, and how many what? When we are talking about many, we are talking about countable nouns, so that would be languages. How many languages? And then our verb, can you speak? And finally, come bus to you by school did. So we have no question word here, so we know that this is going to begin with the auxiliary verb did, because it's a yes or no question. And then the subject, you, and then the main verb, come. After that, it's a simple matter of linking the verbs, the nouns, and the prepositions. Did you come to school by bus? So, I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, please like and subscribe. That's it for today. I will be back as soon as time allows. Thank you very much.